Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I got this email question about Scrum mastering, and I thought I'd answer this since this is something that I think a lot of people run into this question of, if I stop being a software developer for some period of time, essentially, will I be able to go back to it? So Peter asked this question, and he says that he's basically he's working as a software engineer and a part-time Scrum Master, and they're having this big reorg, and he's got an opportunity to transition to a full-time Scrum Master, but he says obviously he won't be able to code anymore. So the question is, doing something new is exciting, and he says he'd be able to learn new skills, especially soft skills, and he says, loved your book, plan to reread it soon. Cool. But I'm afraid to let my programming role go. I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep my programming skills up to date as a full-time Scrum Master. What do you suggest? So, before I say what I suggest, I think I'm going to start off by talking about, this fear of losing your skill set, your programming skills. I'm not too worried about that. Like, I think, a lot of people I've talked to have echoed similar concerns when going into an architect role, or maybe starting a business, or doing something like that. Or even they've said to me, hey John, what about you? You haven't coded in a while. Are you worried that you'll lose your programming skills? No, I'll tell you why. One reason why is because it's just not going to happen, right? I wrote code for like 15 years, and I really learned it, so that I actually, more than learned it, right? It's I understood it. I got to the point of understanding how to write software, how to write code, how to solve algorithms. And that's not going to disappear, right? If you sat me, I don't care, like 10 years from now, if you throw me into the ocean of development and everything's changed, right? There's not even probably going to be a programming language that we're still using, one of the common ones, right? I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to go and learn. It's going to take me a couple of weeks maybe to get up to speed, maybe a couple of months to get fully up to speed with new frameworks and technologies and changes in the field, assuming I haven't been staying up to date at all. But I'm going to figure out how to do that, and then it's not going to take me very long. Because once you've figured it out, once you've learned, once you have these basic concepts, you're not going to lose them. Like learning a programming language or a framework, that I guarantee you that's easy, because I've learned an entire programming language and taught a course on it in less than 2 weeks, right? Same thing with learning a framework. So I know that I can gain those skills. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because you can do the same thing, right? If you've got some experience, if you've been a programmer, you don't have to worry about like those skills getting, quote, rusty. Yeah, maybe they'll get a little bit rusty, but you can brush off the rust, you can repaint that, and you can be good to go. It's not like, well, I don't know, what other profession would it be? It's not like being a professional basketball player, but even that probably, right? I mean, so many people come out of retirement and get back into sports, or you hear the same thing with bodybuilders, and they come back and they're as good as ever. So I don't know, I would not worry about that. Like, there's so many people that are so concerned about that. And I could be doing with simple programming and be like, well, I don't want to lose my skills, so I'm just going to go ahead and like do all this training on the side to just keep my skills up. It's sort of silly, because it's better to just lose your skills and then reinvest the time, rather than, because what a lot of people do is they'll move into some other field, and then they'll like try to keep their programming skills up, and they'll spend a lot of time every week trying to keep these skills up, which they're not really going to be able to do anyway. They're sort of going to be able to, but they're going to spend maybe hundreds of hours worth of time doing this over years. Whereas if they actually got to the point where they need to reuse those skills again, they could just learn quickly within a few weeks time period, instead of stressing and devoting all this time. So that's reason number one, not to worry. Reason number two, and I've thought about this a bit because it affects me, right, is because you might not need those skills again. I mean, when you go down a different path, just go down the different path, and let's see what happens, right? When I started Simple Programmer, when I started going down this path of talking and doing videos and writing and all of the soft skills, when I really converted over to Simple Programmer being about soft skills, I didn't know, right? I was sort of on the fence. I was like, well, maybe I need to keep my development skills up. Maybe I'll need to get a job as a developer, or maybe I'll be programming again. But now it's pretty obvious to me, it's pretty clear that I probably will not be coding for money at any time in the future. Maybe for fun I will, maybe if I'm starting a project, but definitely like the most money and the most value, not just money, but the most value that I can provide to the world is not in typing out code with my fingers. I mean, as much as I'd like to pride myself as being such an awesome programmer, and I was awesome, I'm not that awesome, right? I'm not that good that where I'm so much better that it's going to be worth my time. I can reach more people, I can create more value in the world by going down this path. So what I'm saying here is basically this, two things, right? The one is that don't worry. If you need those skills back, you can get them back. Once you've developed the skills to a certain degree and you understand programming concepts, you're not going to lose that stuff. You might lose the syntax, you might lose the framework, that stuff changes anyway, but you could go back and you could get right back on that horse and be riding that bike again in a few weeks, maybe a few months. Let's say it even took you 6 months or a year, you definitely know you could do that. So don't worry about that, right? If you need to, you can get back. And two, you might not get back. You go down this path, you become a Scrum Master, you might like that, it might take you in a different place in your career. If you're considering this, if it feels exciting to you, then don't hold on to something, right? Don't hold on to something and let that stop you from going after something else. It's the same, I just did a video, you can check it out here, where I talked about putting one foot on the dock and one foot in the boat. Remember that? And I actually had the hat flipped up like this, like a dork. But anyway, I just did that video, and that's the whole thing. It's like, don't hold on to the software development thing because you're afraid to lose it. Instead, if you're gonna get in the boat and go, right? And but it's up to you. Like, if you want to do this, then do it. If you think it's a good opportunity. What I would say though is don't just do this for money. If you're gonna make, unless it's a huge amount, right? If you're gonna make a little bit of money more as a Scrum Master, but you really love doing software development, don't do that. That wouldn't be smart. That would be a bad choice. You're going to regret that. But if you do think this is a better career choice, this is something you're interested in, you're already a part-time Scrum Master, so you think you could fully devote yourself to this task and it'll make you happy, go for it. And hey, if it doesn't work and you decide you want to do software development again, depending on how long you've been out of the game, you might have a little bit of homework to do to get your skills back up. But once you've done it, you can do it because you've done it before. It's like riding a bike. So anyway, Peter, good question. I think this applies to a lot of situations, not just software development. There's a lot of places where we are so scared that we're going to lose something, and so we hold on to it too tightly. And what we need to do is let it go and move on to the next thing and know that we can get that other thing back if we want, right? I'll give you one more example. It's like all these people that have these stupid collections of like every music CD, and they put it on their library, or they burn every single video game or movie that they get, and they put it on this big hard drive for someday if I want this, I'll watch this. Or they collect all these books and stuff, right? It's so pointless because you got Netflix today, you got Amazon, you can just buy something, right? Just get rid of stuff, and then if you need it, you can get it back, right? We live in an economy where that's possible, and even if we didn't, it still doesn't make sense to hold on to all this stuff. So we have this nature that we try to, like, we don't want to lose stuff, so we hold on to it, we hoard it, but just let it all go, and then when you need something, you get it, and you use it. So hopefully this helps you. If you like this video, subscribe. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.